There are many situations where you receive an Excel file or Excel document and you still need to view it in a different format. Let's say the most famous way is converting from Excel into PDF. And of course, there's many options and many choices where you can save a certain Excel file or Excel document in a different format for a different purpose. In this video, we will learn how to generate a certain file format out of an Excel document. So here we have an Excel document and we don't want to use it in Excel format, or let's say we want to save it as a certain format as it requires by the customer who's receiving the document, or even for us to be able to view the document in a better way. So in file, we go save as. That's the first way you go. That's the kind of file you're saving. It is right now will be saved into Excel workbook, which is .xlsx. If you drop down the menu, you can choose either to save it in an older version of Excel, 97 to 2003. That can be useful when you want to give the document for somebody who's having an older version of Excel and being able to get the ins and outs of the documents before you give it to them. You can save it as Excel macro enabled workbook if you are embedding macros in your document, either XML data, CSV for data analysis. That could be famous within the people or the workplaces where they handle large amount data and analyze those data and be able to come out with outputs or conclusions about those data and handle them in a different way to be able to draw graphs or trends and so on. There's many types of documents that you choose. Again, CSV, that's very known, formatted text, and you could go with Excel add-in. You could go, which is the famous one. The most famous one for me is the PDF format. So you can choose to save the document in front of you in PDF format so that it can be viewable for the receivers, even though if they don't have Excel at all. Then you, if you want, you can go to more options. In this case, you can choose what kind of document you need it to be optimized for, standard or minimum size. Then you can choose to open file after publishing, what kind of title you want to show, and who's the author, what tags you want to have. You can go even with more options and more tools if you need to have more implementation within the document. For options, you can see the page range of all, publish what, active sheets, entire workbook, and so on. And you can choose to have as a PDF/A compliant. Hit OK, then you hit save. Then he says already exists because I already did it before. Then you say, do you want to replace it? Yes. And right now in the background, he's generating the PDF file of this document, and it has been saved on the directory that he showed before I click on save. If you are interested on turning the Excel document into PDF in specific, I have a better way to do that and a more controllable way to do that. So you go to print. Instead of printing in a printer, you can choose whatever PDF viewer you have, either Adobe PDF or in my case Foxit Reader PDF printer. So I print the document as a PDF, but I treat it as a printer. In this way, I have the privilege to be able to see a review of the document before I print it and how does it look. So you can choose all pages or certain pages. You can choose to print the active sheets or print entire workbook, print a certain selection. So it gives you more options in terms of generating a PDF document out of Excel in a more readable way, because the first step we did, just go save as and save as PDF. Not necessary you have all the documents. Sometimes the data is out of margin and it's not necessarily readable. In this case, you can say fit sheet on one page, or you can choose no scaling. You can see he cut the data right here, but he continue in the next page and the next page and so on, which is for me not very readable because in PDF you can zoom in. So the first approach was making more sense than what it is right now. Of course, when you go save as and print, that's what you will see. He will print for you the data, but he will cut it off here, then he continue in the next one, but it's not readable in one shot. So I would go fit sheet on one page or fit all columns in one page, depending on how the data is being prepared on your document. But in this case, fit sheet on one page, like each sheet, show it to me in one page. So in PDF, I can zoom into this and still be able to read it and work with it and highlight it as needed. So that make more sense to view. Then you hit on print, which means like save as PDF. Then you can save it in desktop. In this case, as you can see, he saved it for me as a PDF document. I can switch through it, slide through it, take it to a tablet, use it on a laptop, use it on a PC, and it will always look the same. I can see the big picture, I can zoom in and out as needed, I can even highlight the data as needed and work with it in a more convenient way. If I don't care about changing the data, I just care about viewing it, and I'm generating a certain business report or whatever report I'm working with, then I would say this is a good approach for creating a really useful PDFs out of Excel. Of course, you can always have the option to show the margin of the page printing thing on Excel and be able to fit all the data within it, but it's not always the case. Sometimes it's too hard to fit the data within a certain printing margin, and you just need to use it digitally. You just need to view it as a PDF, one sheet per page, and be able to work with it, highlight it, comment on it, and go from there. So this is a really good way to go from converting Excel into PDF. But again, if you want CSV file and want the data as usable as they are in the format they are in, then you go save as and you save it in the file format that serves your purpose.